Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hilltop Pillbox here in Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. And yeah, we're doing a game of 1941 in the anniversary setup. And we are playing virtually with my good buddy Hell on Wheels, who's off in the wonderful land of the United Kingdom. And he is playing the United Kingdom among all the other allies. So you can see my German turn. I got all my red arrows out there. And the Japanese turn, got all my stuff. He bid 12 for the Allies, and I was thinking of coming back with an 11, but we'll see what happens here, because there is definitely a slight advantage to the Axis in this game. We are playing with NOs, but no tech. So he took his 12 bucks and he put one artillery in Buryatia. He put a tank in Egypt, and he put an extra man in India. So that's his 12 bucks. He spread it out, looking to help the UK, because the UK usually takes it on the chin here. And yeah, so my goal overall here is to put a lot of pressure on the Soviet Union. And I am not going to try to take Egypt anytime soon. I am going to use my Italian stuff. I'm going to try to hold Libya because it's worth a buck, but it also, if I can hold on to this, I can get my $5 bonus for the Italians, which they might need. But I'm going to send everything I can off towards the Soviet Union and really try to put pressure on Moscow today. I'm also hoping to take Calcutta on turn 2. So while we do have a few attacks going on, we are going to position ourselves likely as close to here as we can get, or here with as much stuff as possible, and take Calcutta turn 2. I don't know if he's planning on building a factory. He usually does in India. So if he does that, hopefully we can take that. All right. We shall see what goes on, though. Here we go. 41, and away we go. Right, round 2 is about to begin, and nothing really crazy this turn. And we'll show you what's going on. My strategy, of course, as I told you, was to go after Calcutta. And he's bulking up huge there. We'll talk about that in a second. He did try to come in. He had that artillery here and his 3 guys. He did try to come into Manchuria. He only got a couple of hits, and I was able to get rid of all 4 of his units. So it didn't work out too well. So he's down to 5 units here now. And there you go. Now, me being a little aggressive, I tried to go into Hupei with, I sent 2 men and a fighter, and in 2 rounds I got no hits, and he got hit. So Kangsu is empty, and he just walked in. Now, he doesn't get the 2 bucks or anything, but it's 2 bucks. Japan has gone down. He built 2 men in Yunnan. That's all he's got left in China. Down here I came into Burma without incident, and I took the Money Islands because, as we all know, a rich Japan is a happy Japan. Killed the little American destroyer and transport here in the Philippines. And I didn't go after the Philippines. I have learned myself, and you can certainly have a different take on this, and I'm sure people do. I don't care if the US gets rich. I don't want the UK being rich. Because with the US, I know where the stuff's coming from, right? It's going to come from there, or it's going to come from the East Coast. And I can kind of prepare for it and keep tabs, because it's going to take 2 or 3 turns before it's really having an effect on me. But the UK, I mean, he can do lots of stuff all around the world. So I'm trying to keep him under wraps. So he's brought these guys up. Not really sure where they're going. I could go kill them this turn. I got a battleship here. I could come over here and kill that and strand the Solomon guys. But I got bigger fish to fry in Calcutta. And I have to take a shot this turn, which really sucks because I'm probably not going to get it, and I'm probably going to lose some expensive stuff. He didn't do anything with these guys, but I did support these. So we're going to send these 3 men here into Calcutta. We're going to send these 3 men into Calcutta. So I'll have 6 men attacking versus 6 units defending plus a fighter. But then I've got the 3 fighters as well. And that's as good as I can do. Part of me wishes I would have bought a bomber last turn, but it still couldn't reach. But it's going to be interesting because I'll have 9 units and he's got his AA gun. So if his AA gun is cold, no problem. I think I should be able to win that. But if his AA gun shoots down a plane or two, then that's going to be very, very dicey. But if I could take care of this on this turn, you know, he just built a factory here. He uses transport to come over here and grab a guy, bring him back. That'll be good for us. In Africa here, the British came down and made a landing with a lone tank, and then the Americans came and landed in behind them. That is a very juicy target for the Germans. Unfortunately, I can only get... actually, my bomber can make it. So my bomber, a fighter, and these 3 units here. That's a spicy target right there. So I'm going to think long and hard about that. But over here, you can see he brought a bomber over. Remember the German transport I said I was bringing over to drop in Ukraine a couple of guys? His bomber came and sank it because he brought his fighter from Egypt over to Calcutta. Had he not done that, this would have been a much easier battle coming up. So there's that. I have no intentions of taking Stalingrad this game. None whatsoever. So I'm going to let him bulk up like crazy. I'm going to demonstrate against Stalingrad, like I'm doing with my Italians, bringing them in here, so he'll have to load it up. But my goal is this turn, I want to take Karelia, and I think I can. I can hit it with like 5-6 aircraft and 6 or 7 ground units, a couple of tanks, and I can bring, and I will bring these 4 tanks as well. And that will be nice, because then the north becomes a bit more open, and he's got to bring guys up from Stalingrad, but I'm going to keep shipping guys over. Now, he does have these guys here. I think I've got to hit this to get rid of any of his landing. He didn't build any ground units here. He only spent 19 bucks last turn. So I think what he's going to do is put a massive build down and then just come over in one shot. So, which hurts, but it also gives me an extra turn where there's nobody nibbling at my heels. Yeah, did the typical, sank the battleship up here, didn't take any hits, which is nice, and then he came and killed my 2 subs, which always happens. But he had 2 rounds where he didn't get any hits, and my subs, of course, didn't get any, so shooting at a 1, of course. But that's it for round 1. Yeah, I kind of like how it's going. I think my singular focus on Karelia here, on Leningrad, is very important. And we'll punch into Moscow from the north and try to keep some pressure on in the south. Not sure if it's going to work, but we will know. Oh, the Italians came and took Transjordan just because we need the extra buck. Because we lose this, we don't have any bonus for the Italians, unfortunately. What can you do? We're going to have to... I think I really do have to hit this. Now, if I hit this, the good news is, you know, Germany goes up a buck, Britain goes down a buck. But if I can get rid of some air power, and if I can win this, that's great. But the bad news is then this stack here is just going to roll across and take all this out. But getting rid of an American bomber this early in the war is always a good thing. But again, what could it cost me? And if my dice come up blank, he's not going to lose a bomber on the first round of combat probably. So, you know, I might be losing a lot more than just territory. But we shall see. I'm going to have to mull that over for a little bit. But you'll find out when we do the next video what is going to happen. All right, so round 2 was actually very exciting. Very exciting stuff went on. You can see that he's put some money into the west here, and he's built up a quick little sub fleet and a destroyer. So 4 subs he built and a destroyer. The Japanese, we were able to take Philippines, lost a guy doing it, but we got it. And then those pesky Aussies came over and took the East Indies back. And so, well, that was annoying, but I think they felt a little bit more annoyed that Calcutta fell. It was not easy, though. I ended up losing 2 fighters and 5 men, but to forestall British building in this area, that was worth it. And now I built a factory here because the Soviets are definitely going to come and retake India. There's just nothing for it. Like they're definitely going to be doing that. His British bomber flew all the way from the Caucasus over to here. So obviously going to be looking for lone Japanese transports. So I'm going to have to be on the alert, because as you can see, that's something that we do, because typically there's not a big threat to them. But now with the British bomber lurking, I'm going to have to be very careful. Very aware of that. Over here in Africa, the Italians did not get attacked in Transjordan. That kind of surprised me. And I could have actually just come and landed in Gibraltar, but I had to take care of this one here because the British came down and took it again. The Germans took it back. It was a great battle. I had one tank left, so I lost an artillery and a man, but I was able to take out all 5 on the very first round. I got 5 hits with my 3 fighters, my bomber, and my 3 ground units. I got 5 hits, so that was that. So good trade, and then the Italians had to come back, take it back. We lost a man doing it to the 2 British units that were there. My Italian fleet is likely dead. There's not much that can save it this round. The British have a cruiser and a destroyer there, 2 destroyers there, to say nothing of some Spitfires, so they can all come down. So I think my Italian fleet is likely dead. But we made $17 last turn, so we're going to start bulking up Italy. Now you can see the Americans built a little fleet here. They've got 8 ground units that are likely going to be coming down to Africa and then coming to Rome and area. So I've got to get busy and get something done. And so the Italians did something wonderful for me. They did a little can opener, which really helps because now I have Karelia. So Karelia I was able to take. I lost a fighter to the AA gun, but I still have enough units left. I can take a good shot at Moscow, and I'll take Archangel with the infantry and artillery. And I've got 7. I got 9 tanks that can hit here. He has 6 and another 7. So he's got 13 units here, plus the AA gun. So I've got to take a shot, though. Got to take a shot with the tanks and the bomber. So the bomber can make it, the tanks can make it. So that's 10 on 13. But if I can take it out this turn and take his cash, that could be a real problem for him. And I will, that will really help. Unfortunately, coming down here and taking this took my aircraft out of position. I do have another bomber here. Let's see, can he make it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, he can, and land in Belarus. So I'll bring 2 bombers. That's a little bit better. He might shoot one down, but hey, that's the price of war. Can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, as they say. So that's where we're at right now. He came and sank my cruiser and my transport, but I did shoot down 1 Spitfire doing it, so that was nice. Beyond that, that's where we're at. So Calcutta fell, and Moscow is on the verge here. Over here in China, I've been able to expand. He did counterattack into Fujian with 3 men and his fighter, and I was able to get a couple of kills, but that was it. So this is a bit annoying. I'd love to be using these transports elsewhere. The other thing he did was he built a factory here. So, dang it, I have to come and take a poke. So I've got an artillery here in the Philippines. I'm going to come down 1, 2, and I'm definitely going to take a poke here with these 3 fighters and the 1 artillery. Because if I can take that factory as well, the British were definitely going to be not doing anything over here. Meanwhile, this destroyer and the cruiser, forgot what that was for a second, likely going to come over here and take care of this. This will be Russian by the time that turn comes around, though, so I won't be able to do anything with that. So he seems to be biding his time here with these British troops. They haven't done anything this turn, or this game. They've done nothing. So he's biding his time, waiting for something, waiting for an opening, which will be there after he kills my Italian fleet, I'm pretty sure. But hey, we're going to see what happens here. That's it for round 2. Round 3's coming up. I'm going to have to attack that with my Japanese, I think. I can't let that bomber survive. All right, he's making me back up. I hate that. All right, round 3 coming up. All right, turn 3, and boy, this game moving forward with leaps and bounds. As you can see, the Americans putting things out here, a couple of guys into the Soviet Far East, and essentially making a Pacific nuisance of themselves. Look at all this stuff. Now, having said that, I think I'm going to have to come and sink a bunch of stuff. I think I'm going to have to do it. My fleet doesn't have anything else to do, so I think we're going to do that. So we'll come out here. I got 2 battleships. I built a battleship last turn. So 2 battleships and a destroyer are going to come out there. I do have to be careful, though, because he's got more subs lurking around, and I got to make sure that I get more destroyers built this turn and make sure that my boats are covered. And then I've got a loaded carrier here just sitting by itself. So I'll probably send, I've got 2 bombers and 3 fighters I will probably send, and then bring all 3 carriers here and land. He does have that, and he's got a little bit of air presence on Hawaii, but should be okay. Australia I did not go for. It was just not in the realm of possibilities, but I was able to take out his destroyer and transport here. So I'm stranding these guys, but they're still bringing home the bacon. So these 2 boats, though, are going to come over here and hit this guy. I think he wanted to put this in a spot to threaten Borneo and the Philippines immediately, but it also put them in harm's way. So hopefully I can take care of them. If not, then he'll be able to come up here and take those. India has fallen and gotten back up again and fell again. Anyway, so the Russians came down, liberated it, so the British were able to build 3 tanks. China has been pacified. Nobody left. It was really a bother this game, a lot more bother than it normally is, so kudos to Hell on Wheels there. And you will see a big stack of Soviets down here coming down to make a nuisance of themselves, because quite frankly, they're not going to be able to take back Moscow. And even if they did, I've got too much stuff right on the border again to take it right back. So a much better decision is to come down here, because this amount of troops makes a very huge difference in Southern Asia than it does in Eastern Europe. So I'm going to have to build a bunch of tanks and chase after him, but he's going to be able to, leave rear guards and come up here and, well, probably threaten taking this factory, if not outright taking it. So I do have to be careful about that. Over here in Africa, the British continue to hold on to Egypt. They did come and take Libya, and then I had to come and take it back, which left Morocco, Algeria wide open and my fleet completely exposed. But no, he did not come after it. He did bring 3 Spitfires down here, so I came back with my transport, picked up a guy in a tank, dropped him off, and with a couple of bombards and the tank, I was able to get 2 hits. And of course, he got 3 out of 3 hits back, but I only had 2 units, so that's kind of it's a fun fight. Libya will likely fall this turn. Now the Americans, they built 2 battleships this turn, one in the Pacific, one in the Atlantic, and they've got 8 units up here ready to come right across and make a landing in France. Norway, of course, it's always a good spot to take when the Russians have been beaten up a bit. It typically means the Germans have left their northern flank exposed, which I did, but that's a good trade-off. They can have Norway if I can have Moscow. So my plan is to mop up the rest of the Soviet Union here. Probably send a lone tank up there and capture some stuff. I'm going to send my 2 tanks and the bomber and the fighter over here. Actually, I might send my bombers and the fighter to take out that little British fleet, because that's the last British boats he has in Europe. So I might do that. And I'm going to build some air power with Germany this turn. I got a ton of money. So I'm going to probably build quite a bit of air power so that any fleet he brings over is going to get trampled. So he's only got a cruiser and a destroyer here. So if they come over this turn, unless the British build a fleet in Sea Zone 7 or wherever these boats end up going, it's not going to go well for them on the following round. But we'll see. We'll see what he does with them. This Russian sub is out here making a nuisance of itself. I had built a destroyer with my Italians thinking, oh, you know what, I'll just take Libya back and then put my whole fleet here. But I was looking at those 3 Spitfires thinking, nah, I got to take care of those things. So, but I don't know where he's going to put it now. If he brings it to Egypt, that's probably a good idea. But if he comes for Libya, that means a couple of units will be out of here. But he does have these 2 coming back. He does have a Russian tank that he might take a shot at with that too. Although if Russia takes it, that doesn't do them any good. So he might not do that. But so far, the Axis have done very well. The battle for Moscow, he had terrible dice. He had 13 units. I had 11. Mine were all tanks and 2 bombers, though. So I had much better dice. But I got 7 hits on the first round out of 13 dice, which is right about what I should have gotten with those dice. Or with those 11 dice. Maybe 1 hit higher, I guess. 1 hit more. But he only got 2 hits. And then on the second round... No, he only got 1 hit. And on the second round, he only got 2 hits. So I only lost 3 tanks taking Moscow. So that was pretty fortunate. The Italians zipped through just to kind of pad their stats a little bit with a couple of bucks, and I'll probably leave them. China, Japan, I'm definitely going to be building another factory in Manchuria, and I may end up building another factory in Jiangsu to deal with what could be happening here. We'll see. I know things can look like really crazy when you get a stack of infantry coming down, but they don't have a ton of punch, and I got lots of transports. I just don't have a lot of ground units right now with the Japanese because I had to answer his sub build with some planes and some boats. It's a very interesting game though, folks, but definitely the Axis have the momentum right now, and we'll see if maybe the Americans can grab it back here on round 4. Time will tell. He had really bad dice, folks. Really bad. Should have been a lot closer. All right, round 4, another bloodbath in a couple of spots, and the U.S. Navy kind of got beat up a bit here in the Pacific this round. I couldn't let it survive. I couldn't. It was getting too big and too nasty. Cost me a couple of things, a couple of planes, I think, but I was able to take it out. So he's built up a nominal one here, just added a cruiser and built some guys here because in order to save my transports, I had to load them up and bring them out here. Really didn't want to, but there you have it. I did sink his... he had 2 subs and a destroyer here, and so I brought out my 4 planes from French Indochina, and brought them out here, and with the destroyer was able to sink everything. Up here, the Americans, with their bomber help, were able to kill a couple of Japanese artillery units and only lost 1 man doing it, so they're up there. I did build a factory here, so yeah, 3 tanks will be appearing. Actually, I don't know if I'll build 3 tanks. I might just build like 3 men because I've got a lot of air power that can be my punch. So, but we'll see what I'm kind of feeling. Over here, British continue to build up their tanks, and I build up mine. He can build faster than I can, but I can ship. So, see how that goes. But Britain has a much larger economy, and when I say much larger, I mean about $30 more a turn. And I'll show you the chart here. I don't know if it's 30, maybe 20 something, but I'm at 26 and I get 10 bonus for 36. His base right now is 42, and I think he's just got the 1 bonus. So he's getting 47 to my 30. So I guess he's up by $11. So 30 was a bit much, but it looked worse on the chart. Italy's at 14. The Soviets, of course, they're actually at 4, so that's correct. America's at 40, but the UK, they're doing really well. This is what they get at the beginning, so they're doing all right. And Germany is doing what it's been doing. But this is one of the big reasons, is he was able to come and take this. I came over here to attack his transport and destroyer with my cruiser and destroyer, and I lost the battle. I didn't get any hits on the first round, neither did he, or he got one hit, and then on the second round my cruiser killed his destroyer, but he got another hit, which led to that. So that's somewhat annoying, but hey, I deserved it. So we're going to have to try to take care of that. And I've got transports with tanks and transports here, and I got some bombers, so that'll be short-lived for him. Over here in Africa, he built another factory. This is the third British factory he has built. And he was able to come through and blitz Italy, but he brought his tank back, so I brought over a couple guys. So did the Americans. Look at that. They brought over 10 units with all the fussing and the bother, so we're not exactly sure where this is going to end up. But the British no longer have any real air power. They've got one Spitfire here. No air power, no naval power. So my Italian fleet is going to be okay, and I got kind of the whole dark skies thing going here with the fighters and bombers. So probably going to take a shot at this fleet here. He's got a battleship, he's got a cruiser, and he's got a destroyer. So I need 4 hits, and I can hit him with 4 bombers and then the 2 fighters from France. So I'm probably going to take a poke at that. If I can kill that, that might be enough for him to say, okay, that's game. I don't know. He's a tough guy. He likes fighting through things, but it's also close to midnight where he is. So let's see. Actually, we're getting pretty close here. We've been playing. He's 10:30 at his time. So the Caucasus fell, and all the Soviet units on the board are now in British territories. They have 1 tank and about 10 or 11 infantry left in the game. So I'm going to come down to Persia with all of my tanks, which is 16 tanks, and hopefully the next turn be able to take India with those 16 tanks, but I might split them off. I don't know. Really debating what to do here. But I do have a lot of money, so I'll build another 6 tanks in Russia and build more air power here. I might even build a factory in France. We'll see. We'll see how the mood strikes us, and it's fun when you're playing a game where you can kind of, maybe I'll do this. So, but he knows that anything he builds naval-wise is likely going to die with all this air power. So that's why he's building these factories in other places, hoping that he can outrun the Axis air cover. But Japan has been really hampered this game. He's done a great job of making me turn around and back up and everything. Yes, I took Calcutta, but I never held it, so I was never able to build there. And he smartly took it with the Soviets right after I took it with the Japanese. So in hindsight, maybe I should have waited a couple of turns, really built up, and gone after him. But who knew? Who knew? So that's where things stand here in heading into round 5. Again, looking pretty good for the Axis right now. If I can kill this fleet, that might be curtains. I don't know. Britain's doing so well, though. He'd probably hate to give that up, but if I can take back Borneo this turn, that might take a little bit of wind out of his sails. And halfway's thinking I should just come take Hawaii, because that would be another victory city. So, all right, here we go. Heading into round 5. What's going to go on down here? Who knows? All right, round 6, and the Japanese had some real, I won't even say lucky rolls. I just was able to bring a ton of punch. So he took out his battleship and cruiser here. We were able to take Hawaii and didn't lose any units. He only had 1 guy on there, mind you. Came down and sniped New Guinea just because I could. And I was able to take Borneo with a couple of tanks. I didn't lose anything to his 1 man. He still holds East Indies, though. And he built a couple of Lancasters down here in Australia. So once again, I'm going to have to make sure that I pay very close attention to what's going on. So I think he's got designs on taking back this. He's definitely wanting to come here. But the Italians have shown up, and they are going to be a thorn in the side of something or other until the Russians come kill them. And here's all the Russians. So That's likely going to happen. Up north here, I went with my bomber. He brought his bomber and his 2 men here into Buryacha. I think that was last round, actually. So I went up and I sniped his bomber this turn. And then I built 2 tanks and a man here. So down here in French Indochina, Thailand, I've got 2 bombers, 5 tanks, 2 fighters. And I'll be building a couple of more fighters. And I've got some mobility here. They built 3 more tanks here, the British did, here in India. So they've got 15 units here. Well, I've got 19 here, and mine punch a little bit better, just marginally though, just marginally, but I do have numbers. So I'm probably gonna hit Calcutta. Really depends, but I think that's just the play. I think that's the play I need to do. I built 6 more tanks there, and this next turn I'll probably build 6 tanks and 4 tanks. And then anything surviving from Calcutta, should I actually win, are going to head over here and take this out. The Americans came in. I just brought fresh troops over to Libya. So I had 2 there, and I brought 4 more thinking, here we go. And my first die roll of 6 dice, yeah, it was that. So I didn't get any hits. Second round, I got 1 hit, so that was nice. But he's got 11 units here of Americans and brought some more over. But I was able, with my 4 bombers and 2 fighters, I was able to take out his battleship, cruiser, destroyer, and 5 transports. So that was pretty costly for him. I only lost 2 fighters in that. Built some more stuff here, but no boats. And with 4 bombers sitting here, 2 more bombers here, he will have to be very careful what he does. Obviously, this transport's not long for this world. And essentially, I'm making enough money with Germany. I can just send a whole bunch of fighters down here. It's only 2 away. Just kill all this stuff. And even if I lose my fighters, it's like, oh, well, you can't bring anything over. So that kind of a thing makes it very difficult for the Allies right now. I built another transport with the Italians and built 2 men and 2 artillery. So I can bring over 3 men and 3 artillery and a fighter to attack this territory next turn. Not enough to take it, but it's just one of these things where I'm able to just build and just come right over. He's got to ship it across the Atlantic. The Italians are not doing well money-wise. They're down to $13. And no bonus forthcoming in the near future. It's quite a ways away. I didn't build a factory in France, did not see the need to, so I saved my money and just built more aircraft. So that's about where we are. Nothing else really going on in most of these other places. Obviously, not much happening here. The British are focusing in the southern hemisphere, in Australia here, and the dark subcontinent of India, and a little bit in Africa. This is in the northern hemisphere, of course, but we'll call it south for this game. All right, round 6 coming up, and if I am fortunate enough, this could pacify the British here, and he's got 5 units here plus his AA guns, so I can hit Australia with 6 units plus a couple of fighters. Don't know if my bombers can make it though. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No. So bombers can't make it, but I've got a couple of fighters that can. So I'll probably hit Australia and with the Japanese, and I'll hit Calcutta with the Germans. If I can pacify both of these and have another 10 tanks, well, it'll be 16 tanks sitting in Transjordan next turn. He'll probably sue for peace at that point, I'm thinking. But we'll see. He's had some rough dice here and there. Mine have been very average, but they haven't had to be really great. And that does change the game, right? It changes the game quite a bit. And everybody says, oh, the dice even out. And I wouldn't disagree with that. But timing is everything. When you get bad dice here, you would trade that for good dice in China every day of the week and twice on Sunday, right? And unfortunately, we don't decide those. So, we're going to go on with turn 6 here, and we'll let you know if Calcutta ends up in the warm embrace of the Wehrmacht. All right, here in the middle of round 6, the game has been called, and it's kind of obvious why. There's just not an awful lot of opportunity for the Allies. They don't have the opportunity to come and take any victory cities, so it's that part, it's mathematically over. There are 14 cities. Japanese have 6, and the European Axis have 8. And that's enough to seal a victory. And again, there are, at this moment, no Allied boats on the board. I've been able to take Alaska and took Hawaii last turn, as you know. This round, I was able to come down and take Sydney and take out 2 freshly minted bombers. Calcutta, I was able to take, and I have quite a number of tanks. I think I've got 8, 9 tanks left, and another 5 Japanese tanks just joined. So they'll all be headed this way. My 6 tanks from Moscow came down here, and I've built 10 more. So yeah, it's math now. The Americans landed here, but lost their transports. It's coming over. So they had the transport, they had the man, the tank, and the fighter here. And I just sent all my air power down, and he was able to kill 1 fighter. Again, that's a trade I'll make every day when I've got a strong economy, right? And again, that's $10 I lost, and he lost 18. So why not, right? Got the American bills from last round. I think we saw that already. So, but this is where it is, folks. That's it. But thanks to Hell on Wheels. Again, he's playing late at night. I am in the middle of the afternoon, so it's very different. Not sure if I'd be sharp for myself at that stage. But Hell on Wheels, I think, played a really good game. The UK was doing quite well throughout to the last couple of rounds, and then the pressure from the Germans, unfettered by any natural enemies, were able to really help out the Japanese and come down here and put the boots to the large stack of tanks and infantry in Calcutta. And like I said before, the UK was doing very well financially, and that's why they're able to, they're building bombers, they're building factories. So they built 3 industrial complexes. My bombers from French Indochina actually flew over and bombed here for the max. They bombed it for 8, but only 4 can go on there. So that was gonna be a thing from then on as well. So while they had a great economy, they are going to start losing some of this. They're obviously going to be losing East Indies, and New Zealand will be on the chopping block next. And then, of course, I would probably come down here, take this. Again, there's nothing to really stop me from doing that. So at this point, Hell on Wheels just decided, no, that's plenty good. But hopefully you enjoyed that. And I know Hell on Wheels and I absolutely enjoyed it. I know it's more fun to win, but it was a good game back and forth here, so we did enjoy it. And as much as the Germans were able to run amok, to quote Hell on Wheels, Japan, he kept reined in, right? Japan was very reined in this game until the later stages. He was able to keep me in check, so good on him. And the Italians did nothing this game of any consequence except for that one can opener that sprang the 9 Panzer divisions into Moscow. So thanks for watching, folks. And as we always say here, hug your loved ones. Thank your friends for playing. And as always, may the dice be with you.